Hi, my name is John Stolpe from Advanced Artificial Eyes and Irises Unlimited, and today I'm going to show you how you can do some adjustments that may be necessary to a prosthesis from time to time to get the best results without having to start all over from scratch. Now, just to be clear, this is not a finished artificial eye. This is an eye that we've chosen to demonstrate how we can do some adjustments. One technique that we use in our office is we use one of our clear front buttons, and we actually can put it over the iris with a medium in between so you can get a preview on how it's going to look. Okay, simply by placing a clear front over the front of the image, it simulates the acrylic that will be on top, and it gives you a preview of what it's going to look like when it's all finished. So I'm going to take some of my limbal color that I want to use right here. We're going to mix it with our monopoly. Get a little bit more. Then I'm going to take a small amount and gently just start applying it over the limbus. And I'm painting in a circular motion around the circumference of the iris, just trying to darken it just a little bit. And sometimes the more transparent you make the paint and the more layers that you do, the nicer your result is. You don't want to try to nail this all in one layer. And I often feel that I don't need to preview the limbus because there's usually such a small amount of clear over the limbus that what you see at this stage is what you get when you're done, versus the other stages that we'll show you that a preview might be much more necessary. Okay, so here's the prosthesis painted with a slightly darker limbus. So first, I'm applying the arcus ring, and then I'm going to come back and try to soften this layer as best I can. Now we're going to grab a clean brush and start to spread this arcus very slowly to create a smoother, softer arcus on this prosthesis. And there we go. There's a nice soft arcus on our Irises Unlimited digital iris image. Okay, this next adjustment that I'm going to show is how we can darken the stroma and turn it a little bit more blue with a simple overpainting adjustment. I've taken one of my favorite paints for this technique on a blue eye, which is Payne's Gray, and I'm going to mix a little bit into my dapping dish here just to create a little bit of a tinting layer. So this is very similar to tinting the sclera of an artificial eye, the way I paint this, because I will go in broad strokes and I'm creating just a wash of uniform color across the surface of the piece that has this bluish gray tint to it. Okay, once that's dried, let's go ahead and put another layer on here. So once I've done a coat or two on here, the next step is to preview it and check it against your patient. So we'll simply take a drop of glycerine and place the clear front over the center, and then I will hold that up next to the patient's eye and check that the stroma is now the perfect color for the patient. So I start by taking one of my favorite conical type burrs. We can use something like that. There's many different shapes and sizes that we could use in this situation. I'm going to take the piece and I'm going to take as much clear off of the eye over the pupil as possible without going through the image. And we just need to shave down the area directly over the pupil. Okay, I'm going to pumice over this pupil to create a smooth surface, which is also going to help me see how much clear I still have left over the pupil. And I would say that that's a good amount of clear. Sometimes you can actually use the blade, use a blade to see how much depth that you still have left. And I'm going to say that this is good in this circumstance. I'm going to be painting on a kind of a smoky brown collarette onto this piece over this large pupil that we have. And I pre-mixed some of this brown color, this smoky brown, that I want to overpaint this collarette with. Mixing it with my monopoly. It's not too opaque. And I'm painting some crisscross striations over the pupil area here to try to cover this pupil that's too big, as well as bringing in the collarette that wasn't perfect on this piece. Okay, I'll step and dry this under a dryer. And we're on our way here. Okay, so we're going to come back, and again, less is more. It's okay to do more layers with a more transparent paint rather than trying to get it all at once. And you may notice that I'm overpainting the entire pupil here. The last step is going to be overlaying the pupil on top. Okay, I'm putting in just light strokes over the outside of the pupil right now. We've kind of covered the center quite well. And I'm just trying to get just the slightest amount over the edge of this dark pupil so it's completely obscured by the overpainting. Okay, so here's where we are right now. And let's take a preview of how far we've come. And where this is going to end up when we're all done. Okay, so we've overpainted the giant pupil. And now we're ready to overlay a new pupil on top of this iris. Okay, so now that we've overpainted the collarette and previewed it, I'm going to wipe off the glycerin and prepare to put one of my pupils on here. Okay, I make these pupils just by taking some acrylic and mixing it with some ivory black and pressing it between these two plates, and then we just let it set until it becomes semi-cured, and then we can punch the pupils out with a leather punch, and that's how these are created. Okay, so when applying this to the prosthesis, this is a delicate procedure that is best done quickly. I'm going to take just a little bit of monopoly and place it right over where we're going to place the pupil, and then I'm going to take my scalpel and grab the right pupil size and prepare to place it slightly up and slightly in on the prosthesis. Okay, here we go. You have just a moment to recenter it if you need to, and then quickly you take a dab of monopoly and just I roll it right over the top, and you're done. I was very careful not to use the pressure of the brush to touch that pupil. In some cases it can smear or move. Okay, but there is a piece with a new pupil placed on top. And again, it's important to shave down that clear so the pupil is recessed as deeply as possible onto the prosthesis.